have a vacation. But as we found out that after 400 families, and I know I need to go back and update it because I've been at 400 families for a couple of years. Our place is now 10 years old. And it was all the stories from my renters, the families, that realized that the need for accessibility wasn't just about me and my family, but how hard it is to find an accessible short-term rental. And so it's because of them that I created Becoming Rentable. And, for me and my life, accessibility is first and foremost when I think of travel. But yet, if disability is not a way of life, you may not think about it, and you may not think about the opportunities for business and short-term rental. And folks, it's huge. I mean, if we just look at 26% of the United States, 26%, a quarter of our country, or 62 million folks have a disability. And then we talk about baby boomers, kind of like me, where by the time of 2030, I'm going to be included in our senior population. That is 32 million Americans by 2030 that are going to be identified as seniors. That's 73 million people. And then, it's interesting because so many times we don't think about people with disabilities having money and wanting to travel. Well, guess what? They do, we do, and it's $645 billion of disposable income that's out there, which is just crazy. And so here is where I start oh my gosh, I had no idea. We just look at the short-term rental industry because that's what we focus on in Becoming Rentable. And we have 1.5 million short-term rentals here in the United States, but yet 0.1% are accessible. I mean, that is only 1,500 properties that are accessible. And yet we just talked about the 73 million seniors, the 62 million people with disabilities. And so they're all vying for these 1,500 accessible properties. So what we did in the beginning of our company and building it, we really wanted to understand, what is this problem that we're looking at? And are the needs, is there viability in us creating Becoming Rentable? And the answer is absolutely yes. It is yes, because this research will show you. We spent about 4 months with a group of folks going through a very large booking platform that had 660 accessible properties. So we went through all those that were labeled as accessible. Now, this was in 2022, so not long ago. We looked at this, and here's the crazy, crazy stuff. So in our research on this platform, in 27 states, over half the United States, we only found 85 accessible properties. You're going, all right, Lorraine, what are you looking at when you're looking at accessibility? So we looked at, can Lorraine take her van and pull into the driveway? Can I get out of the van, stay on hard surface, because that's important, get to the front door? Can I go through the front door? Can I go to the bathroom? Very important. Can I go to the bedroom? And then can I hang out with my family and friends in the living room? So that's all we looked at. And so then we found 23 states. I know it's hard to believe, zero properties we could find just with that information. So where are we today? Well, as of fall of 2023, a few months ago, we went to a different large booking platform. And what we did there, again, was look at what was labeled as accessible. So we did find 2,500. Now, we also looked at 13 states. So our other research did cover all 50 states. But in this research, we just only had time to investigate 13 states. So we find 2,500 plus accessible properties that are labeled. So then we go digging into what was really accessible, same criteria. And yes, we did find more than 85. We found 407, but that's only 16% of what is labeled as accessible. And so it's like, wow, there is really a need, not only for properties, but for education and awareness. And how do we solve this problem? So I wanted to kind of get a handle on where we are. So I went to your website and looked at it. And, there are great opportunities for you all in how you participate in DEI, how you advocate for people with disabilities to enjoy your community, or employer groups coming to your communities. My favorite thing about looking at your site is how you identify the importance of our animals, because they are allowed or not allowed, but we see no reference to disability. And so that's the great thing about why we're here at Becoming Rentable. And that is to work with groups like you all. Everything that we do reflects our expertise and focused on looking at creating the solutions for the extreme lack of accessible properties. And so we really are looking to expand the scope of the inventory of accessible short-term rentals, but also believe that our change occurs through education. And so what are these things that we do here at Becoming Rentable? Well, first of all, we're a listing platform. So that's a big distinction. What makes us different than a VRBO or an Airbnb is that we're just listing. And so, and another factor that's different is we only look at accessible short-term rental properties. So as we're looking at that, we realize and recognize the first thing we've got to do is create industry standards, because there are none in the short-term rental industry. In fact, until Becoming Rentable, our industry historically really has not invested a lot of time in looking at accessibility. And when it's been done primarily for just wheelchairs. So I'm in a wheelchair. I appreciate that. But we at Becoming Rentable look at accessibility in categories. So we look at mobility, which is our wheelchairs, our crutches, our canes, and our walkers. And I think that the walkers is the big difference that people don't think about when we think about accessibility. So, it's not like a checklist. You can go, oh, I have these 10 things, so I am wheelchair accessible or I'm mobility accessible. And there's not. I know it. I mean, I look at my own family and I look at me and my wheelchair and what I need. And what my choices are is going to be very different than my son Alexander's choices. But then my son Nathan is going to have even different needs. So it's really important to find that platform that showcases choices. It's really hard and a lot of frustration in finding an accessible short-term rental is because your choice is wheelchair accessible. It may have like an elevator and wheelchair accessible. Well, what does that really mean? And so we specifically created our filters so that they were very descriptive. When you go to our site, it's not just a widened door. It's a 32-inch door. It's a 36-inch door. Is your shower a roll-in or is it a step-in? Do you have a bathtub? Those three right there in the bathroom are really critical to know when you're booking an accessible place to stay. And that's why we have our 43 filters that we hope will bring about standards in our industry. It's a lot easier sometimes for a third party to come in. Excuse me, I do talk a lot, so I got to get some water here. A lot of times we go, well, I think this is going to be accessible. So, all right, we're just going to click it. Well, having a third party like us does provide an opportunity to have experts. Our eyes are trained to look for these accessible features. I mean, in a second, I look at a picture and I can say, yep, nope, here's what you have, here's what you don't have. I think for our property managers, you'd be happy to know we don't have commission. That's not what we're based on. We are really based on creating that social change where our industry has broadened the scope of disabilities. And so that's why we are this listing platform. It's also, convenient for those of us looking for a property that's accessible. So, I'm not going from this booking platform and this booking platform. We have 111 booking platforms that have properties on our site. And so now people can go to our site and look and see what is in the various areas and what their needs are. It also, we're building a destination component so that when you come to Georgia and you want to know what's accessible, that we will identify those parks, those activities that are accessible for our community. So when I talked earlier about expanding what it means to be accessible, for becoming rentable, we looked at the full range of accessibility. So we have our mobility. We've just added our cognitive certification, which I'm so excited about because it's a huge part in our life cycle of, maybe having dementia, dealing with mental illness. We have our cognitive issues of being on the autism spectrum. So we're broadening to an area that has never even been reached before in our industry. And then we're adding to that our vision, our hearing, and our senior population. And I love what we're doing, particularly with our destination component. We're really looking at when you rent an accessible short-term rental, what else can you do in your community? What restaurants are accessible, might have a sensory room or wheelchair accessible, or just a small step so, Aunt Jane can bring her walker and easily get into the restaurant. And this really does bring about community, which is, I know, it's a beautiful thing. And so, but again, this change, I believe, has to occur through education and awareness. And that's, why I'm here today, is to provide that education. So I mentioned our certifications. So I'm happy to say we are in all 50 states, 655 cities, which is unbelievable. We do have over 1,000 properties on our map, which, if you amortize it by state, I'm horrified by that. At the same time, I'm so proud that we have 1,000 properties. It's more than what Airbnb has. It's more than what VRBO has, more than booking.com. So we are building. And through your help and other groups' help, we hope to, build even more. Our goal this year is to have, it's a lofty goal, we just want to do 5 times what we have now. So we hope to have 5,000 accessible short-term rentals on our map by the end of the year. And then, if you're going to 5,000, why not just go to 50,000? So we have a very lofty goal. We are in the United States and in Canada now, and are on target to be global sometime next year. And so as we look at these filters, what exactly are there? So examples of what we look at, you may go, oh, I never thought of that. Door width is really important. I met a family recently who has a son with spina bifida, and he's in a small wheelchair. So those smaller doorways are accessible for he and his family, because where he is in their stage of life is that he can get through a 30-inch door. Now, I'm a wide load, so I can get through a 32-inch door on a pretty much a good day. Sometimes you might see a few skid marks. So 36-inch is really my preference. So we say all the time size matters, and it does matter. It matters, here when we're looking at a primary bedroom on the first floor, is there space underneath that bed to bring a Hoyer lift so that my husband can easily get me on and off the bed? And so that is important for somebody like myself that uses a Hoyer lift. The path to the front door, that's really important, particularly for walkers, crutches and canes, and people with visual impairments. Do you have vines growing over your sidewalk? Do you have the roots coming up so it's uneven? So we look at these things. So when somebody goes to that property and they book that rental, they have the renter has confidence that what they see is what they're getting. And that, particularly with some of the large booking platforms, that's a real issue. I hear more negative stories, unfortunately, than positive stories, that what a renter has identified in their property is not there. Or they forget to say, oh, yes, look at this beautiful, HGTV spa bathroom with the roll-in shower, and they even have a will under sink. It's a great bathroom, but they forgot to say that all of their entries to the property have steps. The front entry is 5 steps, the back entry is a flight of steps, and the garage entry has 3. Well, that would preclude me from even getting into the property. But again, not having that education and thinking about what you are allowing that potential renter to see through photographs and read through the description is really critical for their success and having a great experience in your community, and for the host or the property manager to have great success. A good negative comment can really beat you up in a season. And so it's really important to have that validation of what is in the property is in the property. So I went again and looked at your site. And so I wanted to just, I went around going to different properties. And so here are some missed opportunities for property managers. And I hope that this is not to point reference on your property, but to really show you the importance of education. So these 3 photographs are associated with one property. And gosh, it looks so cool, the exterior pictures. And this was the best exterior picture I could get. And what was key for me in the missed opportunity is I can't see the driveway. And the driveway, again, is really important because, besides rug, I tease everybody that my wheelchair is a rug eating machine. Well, it's also a gravel eating machine. I have gotten stuck in grass and dirt all the time. So I want to know I can drive into the driveway and I can get out. Now, sometimes you may have gravel on your driveway, but you have a concrete pad. So now my wheelchair is going to be, allows me to get straight onto that concrete pad. So in this first photograph, I can't tell, what is that driveway? Is that grayness that I see gravel? Is there a step? Maybe it looks like there could be a step right here, but is there a ramp that goes to the front door? I can't tell. And the description doesn't say anything. And then I look at this bathroom here, I'm going, oh my gosh, it looks to be like a fabulous shower, but I can't tell, is it step in or is it a roll-in shower? And so many times we see photographs from the waist up. So for somebody with mobility issues, we really want to see from the floor down. We want to know, is there an incline in the grade level? Is there a step? Is it a bump-diddy-bump, as I call it? So what is on the floor is really important. And so in this photograph, that has been a missed opportunity. And unfortunately, I look at this bottom image here and I'm looking at it going, oh my gosh, look, it's got a tilted mirror. It's got a roll under sink. But what's the shower? I can't tell. Again, is that a roll-in shower or a step-in shower? So again, missed opportunities to secure some of that $645 billion that is waiting, just waiting for you. So the next property in the middle, I looked at, and again, you can't tell necessarily by this photograph, but it does have a step to get to the deck, which is absolutely fine for somebody using a walker, crutches, or canes. And in fact, some people with upper body strength using a manual chair can get to that space, or the property owner could invest less than $100 and get a small ramp that would again reach a bigger audience to their property. So what I see so many times is a bathroom just like this. You see part of the sink, part of the toilet, and the shower curtain. You know, what's behind door number one, but what's behind that shower curtain? Is it a wheel and shower? I was trying to peek. I blew it up really big last night, trying to see if it looked like there was anything on the other side of that curtain, like a step or a bathtub, but we can't tell. But look at the other bathroom. It's awesome. It's got the roll-in shower. It's got a tilted mirror, but there's no mention in the description. Nobody would know that property potentially has the needs for what a family is looking for to book. And that's why that property is missing out there. And then we get to the third property. And again, very similar, no information in the description about accessibility. There is no photographs that show or talk about the full accessibility. Bathrooms, same situation, we can't tell. I'm betting, but I don't know. I want to go, I really think it's going to be a roll-in shower. And I want this like reveal to go, and it is a step-in shower. No, and that's why your photographs and language are so important. What I loved about the third photograph here is that there is a space at the bottom of the sink area, and we call that like a toe kick. So that means, I mean, it's not like full under, I can't get under the sink, but there's enough space that I could lift my wheelchair up and go get closer to the sink. So when it's time to rinse and spit, I can actually make it into the sink. And so instead of being another 8 inches out. So, but there was no mention of that in the description. I don't know if this is, oh, I'm looking now in the mirror to see if I can tell. It looks like that shower is in that same bathroom. So that bathroom potentially has really super great things that somebody could benefit from. But again, there isn't information. So again, look at your photographs, look at your descriptions. And I really bet you start looking at more of these details, your reach and your bookings are going to be so much greater. So that is why it's time to drink more water. Okay. Certification. So this is what we do each and every day. We get photographs. So somebody wants to certify their property, and it's easy. You can go and take a free quiz on our website, and it will let you know if that property qualifies for certification or not. You can go in as many times as you want. You have 150 properties. Come on, bring that free test and make it work for you. Or some people say, you know what, Lorraine, we know that we looked at your 43 filters. You know, our property has 19 accessible features. We're confident that this is an accessible property. So they submit their photographs. So here's a great photograph. I mean, this is a great bathroom. I think aesthetically it's beautiful. But most importantly, I look at, of course, the accessibility features. So hopefully you've all had a chance to look at this. And this is what I see when I look at it. I go, oh, wow, cool, there's lever handles. And you know, that's important for a lot of us that are weak in our hands, and I can't grab a knob. So I just kind of press my weight, or I take both hands and press it to open up a door. It's very helpful for little kids too, or those of us that might have some arthritis in our hands. So I'm like, yay, a lever handle, that's cool. A shower bench. Now, I personally don't use a shower bench, but so many people do, particularly those with paralysis or weakness in legs, that position of the shower chair is really important to have. So it's near the handheld shower. Now in this photograph, we can't tell. And even in the mirror, I can't tell if there's a handheld shower. So if there was, that would be important to say. Again, I look right here, hip, hip, hooray, it's a roll-in shower. Very clearly, you can see that the floor just is continuous. My favorite thing, well, I have lots of favorite things, but I giggle a lot at the placement of mirrors because I think, property managers and hosts think that everybody is like 7 feet tall. And even if you're somebody short or of short stature or in a wheelchair, we can't see to put on our makeup, or we can't see to, my husband takes a lot more time than I do in the bathroom, and heaven forbid he didn't have a mirror that he could look at and put his, face on. For me, I'm a wham bam, thank you, ma'am kind of girl, but I still do want to make sure I didn't get that toothpaste dribble, which I didn't check this morning. I get that a lot on my face. So anyway, this is great because it's a tilted mirror. So my husband who sits at or stands at 6 feet can see his face, and me who sits in a wheelchair can also sit and see because of the tilt. So that's a really great one. Grab rails. Again, what's significant about the grab rails here is you notice that they're on the back and on the side. So back in the day when I could stand up on my own, I would have used this side grail over here to help push me to a standing position. My boys, however, they slide over to the side of their toilet and they use this back rail to help push them to a standing position. And of course, there is hard surface flooring, which in a bathroom is very common, but that's what we see. So you can see, you're going, how in the heck, Lorraine, can I get to 19 features in my property? Well, here is already 7, just by looking at this one photograph. So that's what we look at with each and every photograph. And I commonly look from the exterior into the house to look at where is the accessible door, what's the driveway, and we just go through our 43 filters. So now, oh my gosh, so here's our cognitive certification. And this really is a game changer in our industry. And we're so excited and proud to, lead this effort to reach our communities that could benefit from an accessible travel. And that's, our folks with dementia, Alzheimer's, autism, brain injury, mental illness. As in the beginning, as a young company, we've pivoted a lot, and that's what you do as a young entrepreneur. So in the beginning, when we talked about the communities that we reach, we used to say we're a niche audience of people with disabilities. But as we've learned and grown over the last 2.5, almost 3 years now, we've realized it's really about a way of life. And what stage of life are you at? I just celebrated proudly my 62nd birthday on January 31st. And believe me, my needs at 62 are way different than my needs at 42. So again, it's not about a niche. It's about where are you in life? Where's a family member in life? But at some point in life, we will hope that you will benefit from an accessible short-term rental. And so as we bring in our cognitive certification, so many times with the mobility certification, people may have reservations because they're going, oh my gosh, I've got to tear down a wall. It's going to cost a lot of money. I just don't want to deal with it. It's just too much. But in our cognitive area, it's very different elements that are important to families that would allow them to travel. And things that you may go, I didn't think about that. For example, again, put this in your description in your property. You use odor-free products. There's a lot of folks that are very sensitive. I mean, my husband, he doesn't like scented candles. So when I have a scented candle, I kind of use it in the bathroom when it's spa time or in my office when it's away from him. He just doesn't like them. But some people have reactions to the odor of different products. And if you have that, and you use odor-free, put that's really important to put in your description. Night lights. Children love night lights, but as we age, we enjoy and appreciate a night light to make sure that we're not tripping over a toy, or we're making it to the right room at 3 in the morning when you're really tired and your bladder says, I gotta go now. My husband, again, I use my family a lot in my examples, but blackout curtains, he hates it when, we're somewhere and the light comes in. He's like, I'm awake. And I'm like, the curtain was only open a smidgen. And so he loves blackout curtains. But again, for our cognitive community, blackout curtains and the sensitivity to light is very, very important. And that's why we look at dimmer switches. My cat does this when he wakes up or he goes from a really dark area into a light. He switches his face and his eyes, and that's what we do sometimes when we go from a dark place to a light place. And so again, if we can have that transition, so for particularly our friends that have autism or on the spectrum, they don't have a reaction to that darkness all of a sudden of light, or of that bright light all of a sudden. So these are things that we look at. And if you notice, they're not expensive. Having a secondary lock on a exterior door, on all of your exterior doors, we're talking less than $5. Nothing fancy. It can be a slide lock. It can be a chain lock. The idea is that for somebody who's a wanderer, or a small child who just really, really wants to get outside and check out that bunny that's in the backyard, or see go to the ocean, oh, there's, a shell out there and I really want to go get it. This provides the family members to hear somebody trying to get through, open that door, and that secondary lock has helped them. Or, dad with dementia. So again, very, very important. And again, it's not expensive. We broke out our cognitive filters in 4 different areas. So we look at our sensory, that noise machine, a glider, that rocking motion, the muted colors. I mean, who doesn't love a good bath? I mean, get that water just right, maybe add a few bubbles. Oh, awesome. But we look at a bathtub because we know that that is an important feature. Again, we talked about lives. Safety, I mean, that's just huge for all of us. We all benefit when we lock our chemicals away, when we do have that secondary lock, or even pin locks and windows. Heaven forbid our 16-year-old try to go out, at midnight because they saw a cute boy on the beach or on the slopes. So all of this is really helpful. We know that properties don't have it all. We would love for them to have it all. But as we certify, we want to make sure that there's a nice collection of accessible features. So we look at, do you have, at least 2 in the sensory category, and 2 in the lighting, and 3 in the safety. And you know what? The odor-free, we just say it all. That is one area. Your cleanings, your fresheners, your laundries, no candles. Those just, it makes sense. So that's what we look for there. I love our team. Oh my gosh, we have like the very best team ever. And we actually have our own Aunt Be Able. And Aunt Be Able has created our Able Closet. And the idea is that it's one less thing that you have to bring when you're traveling. And believe me, with our family and as much stuff as we have, or for those parents who have young children, how much stuff you have to bring. And if you didn't have to bring it all, it would be a good day in the office. So she puts together and curates a list for us about products that you may not know about, that, you can put in that owner's closet. She calls it, of course, an Able closet because she is Aunt Be Able. And so, but it's, again, it may be stuff, it's like, I'm not comfortable having that out for all of our renters to see, because maybe not every renter will need a ramp. Maybe not every renter will need a portable shower chair or a toilet lift. But you know what? By having that information and showing your potential renters, again, you're broadening the scope of how many people can come and stay at your property. And I've learned over the last year, you property managers and hosts, it's all about filling your calendar. And we want to help fill your calendar with people who want to travel, who haven't been able to travel. And particularly in our cognitive community, I mean, never has this focus been addressed in the short-term rental industry. So again, as we look at what we do, again, it's water time. Sorry, guys. We really want to broaden this scope. So we look at what are we looking at? So in just today's world, we have, identified roughly 7.5 million people with mobility needs. Cognitive comes in at almost 5.5 million. Hearing, which I may be a part of sooner than later, 11 million. Our sight, visual, 12 million. And then our aging today, 54 million. And the benefit of what we're doing is our aging folks, which I'm there, believe me, I'm there. We have a little bit of it all. So we've got to, it's not like one is more important than the other. Again, where are you in life? And what are your needs? And that's what we want to do. In the last year, it's amazing to me. I mean, I love my job, and I'm just amazed at what we're doing and how it is changing our communities. And so you all are a CVB and Chamber of Commerce. Your goal is to get more people to see the beauty of your community, to experience the outdoors, to go to those fabulous restaurants that you see in Southern Living, and be able to, have folks enjoy what you are experiencing. And we're able to help that bring about that change so that people can come to your community. I'm really thrilled to say that we have our first state and travel and tourism that we're working with, certifying all of their cabins, their properties that they have in their state that's under the Department of Travel and Tourism. What we're doing, we're finding out, is really helping to broaden organizations who have conventions in your area, because not everybody can stay in a hotel. Right now it looks like it's a 50-50 mix of where people are staying. 50% are staying in your hotels and 50% are staying in a short-term rental. And so what that does is it really does allow more individuals and families to come to your community for that convention, to experience the beauty of your park, and to build about more community. Last year, we were contacted by members of the Global Business Travel Association, and I have a lot of surprises. And that was another one I never thought about. When we built our company, we built it on the basis of two pillars. So it was our people with disabilities and our seniors who could benefit from these accessible features, to the inventory, the short-term rental side of the industry. Without each other, we wouldn't have accessible short-term rentals. And that's really what we focused on until the day I got the call from my friends at GPTA. And they were going, Lorraine, what you're doing in accessible short-term rental is really having an incredible positive impact in our employer world, in our business travel. And I'm going, how are we having an impact on business travel? And because historically, if we think about business travel, we think about ground and air transportation and a hotel. But yet there are so many people who can't stay in a hotel. It doesn't provide them the space they need. It doesn't provide them the resources they need. It's too expensive because they want to bring their wife and kids and take advantage of, going to Silver Dollar City, or up in your area. I don't know. Do you have Dollywood? I don't know all of the little parks and stuff. But anyway, as we look at that, and it's like, wow, I didn't think about it. So now employer groups have a wider broth of people that they can look at and interview for jobs. It helps on employee retention, as I said, recruitment, experience, networking. So now we have this third pillar that we never thought about before. And I'm going, wow, that's pretty cool. And then again, we get contacted by a lot of groups. Again, we're new, but the benefits have been so great. Another group, believe it or not, pharmaceutical companies. I'm going, all right, talk to me about how we benefit your area. And it's about clinical trials, because sometimes it's really hard to find people to participate in these clinical trials. And then you add to that where they have the clinical trial is it near a hospital? Is it in a particular area? And there's only so many hotel rooms. By having accessible short-term rentals, again, a lot of people that are participating in these clinical trials participate in because they have maybe a medical condition, and they are hoping that this will make an impact in their area of need and their area of a disability. I did the trials for muscular dystrophy early on in my life a lot. In fact, I did one, and you'll learn about me. I love my stories. I was at Vanderbilt. My summers were always spent doing somebody's trial. Well, they thought the form of dystrophy that I had was about a lack of beta carotene. So they gave me a lot of vitamin C, a lot of beta carotene, and it didn't work, but it turned me orange. I promise you, I was orange at the end of this trial. So I'm going, you're right. Clinical trials are really important, but where do you stay? You can stay in an accessible short-term rental. And then, my advice to people, property managers, as you're looking for new properties, is to think about end of life. And we've had 2 end of life experiences. And this one family, like in another Lorraine story, came to me and said, Lorraine, we have 2 properties. One is a model property in Conway, Arkansas, that is designed as an educational tool. It's known as the Little Yellow House. So please go to becomingrentable.com and check out our Little Yellow House. And it was designed for education, for hands-on. What does an accessible property look like for mobility, hearing, vision, cognitive in our seniors? So we developed that. It's a working short-term rental, and a young girl reached out to me and has a disability, actually is going to my alma mater. Shout out to Hendrix College in Conway. And that she was having trouble at school and getting around, and her dormitory was particularly not accessible. And she also has a twin sister who's in a wheelchair. Her sister's never been able to stay with her. And I'm telling you a different story. See, I have all these great stories. Anyway, happy story with the twins. They're working with us. But that wasn't the story I was going to talk to you about. It was about my end of lifer. Anyway, the family came, stayed at our house. They thought, oh my gosh, Lorraine, they thought that Dad would live for about 4 months. And I said, no, you can move in today. We have the hospital bed. We have the shower chair. We have all these things. And they were like, this is great. Well, unfortunately, Dad passed away 14 days later. And the family did artwork for me and has reached out multiple times to say thank you, because if it weren't for us, those last 14 days would have been all about finding durable medical equipment for their family to have in their home to take care of Dad. Instead, this accessible property provided everything they needed. So they spent their days, on 2 twin beds put together as a king, one a hospital bed, one a non-hospital bed, where mom and the daughters and the dog all just got to hold their dad's hand, tell stories, and have a positive experience. And it's the beauty of what we do. And I'm going to go to the next slide because it will make me cry. And it's why we do what we do. We want to be that trusted brand that has this comprehensive resource in education, and help build our communities like yours, that we can all enjoy travel. And really, we talk about having, living our best life. And that's what we want for all of us, is to be able to live our best life and experience these things. So with that, I am done. I would love to answer any questions. I'm like on time, which is like never happens for me. So I'm gonna stop here and see if we have questions or what I can do to provide even more information.
So if you want to unmute your video and mic, you can. If you prefer, you can also type your messages in the chat box for Lorraine. So we'll give that just a minute for any questions to come through. Lorraine, thank you for this presentation. You did a great job, and I was really excited that you talked about the able closet. I saw that on your conference that you did with Desticon, and I thought, what an easy way for anybody to have a little bit more to provide somebody that may have the need. You know, like we were talking about before this started, you know, my mom has the need for the shower chair, and it's really when you're booking for people now, you have to be really cognitive of everything, the steps. You know, my mom, she ambulates, but she struggles, you know, with stairs, and she can't step over a bathtub. So there are a lot of things to consider when I'm booking for her. So the able closet was just a cool thing, I thought, and I'm so glad you brought it up. It's just so simple. Oh,
Hi, Aunt Abel, who's joined us.
Aunt Be Able here, happy to help anyone build their closet. All right.
Because this is Aunt B's Abel's, this is her job. This is what she is all about. She came up with this idea, and Aunt B really wants to make sure that, you know, we can do something as simple as fill up a closet.
Yeah, that's great.
So as we're waiting for questions, how about we look at our website? And so people can see and experience navigating to our website. So again, you can see, you can search your properties here on our homepage. You can have a property certified. We have, again, our new cognitive certification on our homepage. We also, for you property managers, have a new short-term rental autism ready training program available. And it really gives you an understanding of what you can do and to invite families that have members on the autism spectrum. And then on our homepage, we have a variety of our accessible homes right here. So if you're looking to, you know, on our website, you can learn a little more about our team. We have ambassadors that we are working with. We've got Aiden from South Carolina, who is our autism ambassador. And Aiden has a program that he does. He's taste testing with Aiden. And so you have some food or that, you know, you're known for. Aiden is your guy. He'll give you a great review and taste test it. We have Chloe, who lives in the UK, a wheelchair user. We also have Maddie, a beautiful young lady. She and Chloe do a lot of traveling together. And Maddie had a stroke early in her life, and they love to travel the world. Gretchen is one of our newer ambassadors, focusing on real estate. Our fourth newest pillar that, you know, we're looking at, and that is our real estate community. I mean, without architects and real estate, we need it comes with our inventory, and we are building right now a continuing ed program for realtors. Our first one will take place this spring in Ohio. So if anybody is interested in that, let us know. Bernadette has muscular dystrophy. She has sharp Marie tooth, and she's out of Pennsylvania and is really helping us a lot by her videos. And we talk about feet on the ground. Actually, Alan is from South Africa. He is an incredible advocate, also a minister. And he has already been to our little yellow house. He's actually going to be coming back to the United States during that, doing some work with our friends in Arkansas and capturing the eclipse. and staying at an accessible cabin there. So we're building our ambassador program. We hope to have ambassadors, our feet on the ground in every state. So we feel that that's really important to have these experiences. So that's a really fun thing that we're adding to who we are. Again, as we look at rental features, and it's like, now what did Lorraine say equaled, a zero threshold entry? Well, you can come here and you can see a picture of what a 36 exterior door looks like, or a keyless entry. Again, that hard surface ground cover, or here's our zero threshold entry. I mean, that's just a mouthful. And so we go through each one of our filters, show you a picture, what is it, and how is it used? And so that's really helpful for, particularly property managers, and you're wondering, wow, is our property accessible or not? And then, here's where I'm getting the nervous Nellies going, all right, Lorraine, now you got to show that this really works. So let's just go to Georgia. I don't even know. We're going to go to Gatlinburg. And I'm just going to press mobility and then search. Let's see what, here we go. We have Pigeon Forge, we have Gatlinburg. So here is where we're going to look at this property. Let's see what this has. And it has a description right here underneath the view of what this property has. So for me, okay, it's got the hard surface driveway, check, need that. It's got my accessible ramp, parking spot. It does have a ramp. It has the 0 steps to the entry. All right, we've got hard surface. Ooh, it has 32-inch doors. But yet it has also 32 to 35-inch doors. Great. It's got a primary first floor. I need that. Grab rails, roll-in shower, grab bells in the shower. Okay, handheld. This sounds great. So now let's look at it and see what we have. So then you come here and you get to see the property. And then you just look at each of the photographs and to confirm, all right, there is the grab bar for the toilet. Now, if this were Alexander and Nathan, this wouldn't be a property that met their needs because they don't have that grab bar in the back. But so far, it would meet my needs. So here is the bathroom. You can't tell, but it does say that it's got a roll-in shower. It's got a bench, it's got my handheld shower, and it's got the grab rails. So we're looking good. And we just continue to look at the photograph. But you notice, but when it comes time to book it, you don't book it here. You go straight to that booking platform, who on this property happens to be Airbnb. So, and then you book your property. So that's how easy it is to identify and look for properties. You can then, go down here and identify what you need in your bathroom. What kind of doors do you need? What is in your kitchen? Interior, like, do you have an elevator? You are not going to believe how many posts do not include that they have an elevator, and they have an elevator. I mean, that's an easy one. But again, that's what the kind of stuff that we look for, which is really, really important. If you want to get certified, here's our certification button. And it takes you through the steps on what to do. You can take the quiz. And our newest addition to our website is our Be Able partners, where we're working with companies for us and allow us to be able to continue the work that we do. But we do it with benefits, of getting exposure and getting your name known and people to use your product. So we've just started that. So I think it's like live as in yesterday. So again, many opportunities there. So we have a lot going on, a lot of opportunities for all of you. Feel free to reach me directly by Lorraine@becomingrentable.com, or go to our website and click on the info button. Alexander is standing by for questions. He's our customer service rep. So well, let's see what time it is. You know, our younger generations start work at 10 a.m. And unlike the older generations who is used to coming in at 6:30 or 7, but we've got customer service there for you. So there's a lot of ways to hook up with us. We're here to help you all and to help more travelers learn about your area and get to know your community.
Righty, if there are no questions, then we will go ahead and get ready to close the presentation. I did record it, but true to form, I missed out on the first few minutes of your introduction, so apologies. I'm the worst when it comes to recording, but I will share that with everyone so you have it. And then thanks again, Lorraine. Thanks for everything you're doing and the new little nuggets we have.
Okay, very good. Goodbye.
Bye.